Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Think Rugby podcast. I'm Andy Moe and I am joined with Xav. How are you?
Good, mate. Had my end of season dinner at the weekend for the rugby. It was a great time, as always, with a rugby social. No, thanks for asking. Hopefully you're doing well as well.
Yeah, I was up at the in-laws and I would say I was lambing some yows, but none of the yows wanted to have any lambs, so I had a very uneventful weekend this weekend.
Going by the rugby results as well, from a Scottish fan perspective, what we're speaking about is Glasgow, disappointing trip to South Africa to face the Stormers, and also, well, to be fair, Edinburgh with maybe a late resurgence in the season as they went and took on the Sharks at home. Effectively, let's go over the games, I guess, the two home club games. Start off with the big one was Stormers vs Glasgow. Kind of a top of the table kind of clash, or like the two teams that are really going for the URC title there. I was expecting a very close game going into it. I actually tipped Glasgow because I always, as you always do, kind of back your home club. Didn't expect to see or kind of discover what was to follow, to be honest. You probably got a better idea than me. I have watched the highlights a few times, the extent highlights in depth and that, but I honestly couldn't fathom how switched on and how more superior the Stormers were. I mean, for me, I'm going to say one thing before you take over here, but I'm going to say, two things. Sacha, but also brute force and power. And that was, I think, the two massive differences throughout the whole game. Sacha and absolute brute force and power, particularly at the maul time.
Yes, no, 100%. Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu. This is why I call him Sacha Zulu, because it's just easier. I said it to you at the weekend, because that assist for a grubber from one of the tries, I was just like, wow, is there a better fly half in the URC than Sacha Feinberg-Mngomezulu? Whatever. And the answer to that is probably no, there isn't. I can't really think of one. The nature of the result, Glasgow have went down to South Africa in the past fortnight trying to put the result in Europe against Toulon behind them. And to be honest, things have went from bad to worse. You said it there, it was a top of the table clash. Glasgow were competitive, but after that second half started, as soon as they got that first try, I thought, yeah, this is only going to go one way. I thought Glasgow were, they did show a bit of character. They were trying their best. Sione Tuipulotu, I think, was a bit of a shining light, but the amount of points and tries that they have conceded in the last, it's not 3 weeks, but the last 3 match days is pretty disappointing. And we can touch on it later, but I think Glasgow are very, very fortunate that Leinster surprisingly lost away in Italy at the weekend, and that keeps Glasgow at number 2 in the table. I mean, it's disappointing that they've lost in the manner in which they've lost, but it's the fact as well, there's not any losing bonus points, and that's something that in years gone past Glasgow would have had. And yeah, you also consider how good they were at the beginning of the season, and it's quite disappointing.
I don't know what to say really, to be honest. You've basically summed up everything you can in a nutshell there in the last 2-3 minutes there. I've said that again. It sounds like I'm just kind of recycling content here. I guess I am. Glasgow are just slowly depleting away. That when you want your best players about in the season is near the end, and they haven't. And the Champions Cup and fighting to win the URC out and out, has it been too much for them to ask for them? That Toulon game probably took a lot out of them as well. There's a fair effort playing Toulon. I mean, they potentially could be in the final. So maybe the bookies are in favour of Toulon now because of results setting by this weekend. So it's like, have Glasgow burnt out? To me, I think they maybe have. They've still got a very good squad. It just seem like they're burning out, and they're kind of maybe thinking now, okay, like future's coming. They've signed a lot of these young lads in their first ever contracts now. Is it deflecting too much from the task at hand? I don't think so, because they need to get them contracts anyway. Is it too much responsibility for some of them too soon? Possibly. But it's almost by default and no fault for their own, because they've had some injuries and setbacks this season. It's a tough one. I mean, Falco Smith, I mean, he's done a phenomenal job with Glasgow outright. With like the issues they've faced as in losing players like such as Venter, Tom Jordan. It's been a bit of a kind of transitional kind of season in a way. Yeah, to get in Lancaster. Yeah, promoting some players like Austin Jabu, and also Kenzie Duncan, who Kenzie Duncan didn't play at the weekend, but I know I can't even say his name, the big second rower, he did play. So these players who have all the promise in the world, but they're up against the best of the best in most important games of the season, it's like, well, look, there's only one way it's going to kind of unfold, especially when you've got Sacha Feinburg absolutely tearing it up. Like you said, that assist just personified just him as a player. I don't think that was a fluke. He put that exactly on the money. That's got to go between, I think it was Kyle Rowe and who was playing fullback and wing? Kyle Rowe and not Josh McCoy.
Stain.
Was it Stain? Yeah, right between the two of them and right on the money. And when that happened, if I watched that back and I seen that, I was like, they deserve to win the URC personally, based off the season they've had, fighting back, and yeah, like domination. You mentioned the maul time was absolutely his boys at maul time, and a good few tries off the roller maul as well. Glasgow and no answers to it. That's such a key component to attack or defend a maul. Glasgow, like I said, had no answers. Was kicked on, scored 2-3 tries from that, and that's a lot of points from just one key aspect of the game.
Yeah. Well, we touched a wee bit on it there, and obviously it wasn't just up front where a lot of the players was missing, but also a lot of people are looking at scrum half, and we talked about it last week. I don't know if he's done this deliberately, but I think Franco Smith was just like, you know what? No, you've got the likes of Cummins, Gregor Brown, George Horn. There's a few of these guys. I risk them a little bit too soon when you've got a rest week this week because they're not in the semi-final, and I know it's not the right mentality to have. Like Ben Ashfar and the guy that played second row in the second half begins with an O. For Glasgow, I can't remember his name. Yeah, I'm a big fan of him, the second row guy, not Ben Ashfar. I think Ben Ashfar's a cracking player with a bit of promise, but it's okay playing these promising players like here and there, but if you're relying on them to come and deliver against world-class opposition, which is what Sacha Zulu is, there's only ever going to be one winner, and it's too much, and ultimately it's. I think even if Glasgow did have a full fit team, I think they still would have struggled just with how it's so late in the season. There's a lot of these boys have been on the go since this time last year with the Lions tour. Like they're going to be fatigued to fuck. It's disappointing, but it's also probably not just too surprising. But for the love of God, they need to try and get get as much rest as you can and get a win a week on Saturday or Friday.
Over, like I said, 2 games left, 2 match week left. Did you say it's not over?
No, not yet.
You never know. We live in hope. But hey, top 2 finish into the actual playoffs and that. Like it's a very, very good position to be in. Always up in there in the kind of top 4 kind of region anyway, if not higher. So fair play to them. Edinburgh are the kind of you might say the best at the bottom of the bunch in terms of URC. Possibly they went and defeated the Sharks at home at the Hive, which is a great result. 33 points to 28 full time there. We've got a bonus point win. Which I think they did. It's brilliant for them. Unfortunately, didn't really keep up Edinburgh this weekend. I also thought they were going to get stuffed, which is probably a very bad kind of attitude to have in terms of supporting your home team. I always like to back for my home team. I just couldn't see a way. Season they've had, was it 4 wins this season, or is it now 5 or 4? It's not exactly. Is it 6? Sorry, apologies.
6 in the league and then a couple more in Europe.
Fair. But it's slowly becoming a more respectable kind of season for Edinburgh. Really, they can maybe get 1 or 2, or maybe more, probably just 1 more victory out of the remaining fixtures. Maybe get 2, you never know. Become even more respectable with 7 wins throughout the season. They're a funny team for me. They've got, again, really young promising players. There's Moncaster, Douglas, Bonnell. It's just back rows. They've got some pretty decent players in particular positions. However, again, depth just kind of play a big factor in it as well. And to be honest, could I list off like a second string of a team like I could like a second string Glasgow team? Whereas with Glasgow, you don't really struggle as much because there's some bigger names, more promising names, like a kind of second string team that they could probably put out. And I think that's the kind of difference. And that's why probably Glasgow still are kind of competing up there, even though they have had to opt to play kids essentially, that maybe haven't managed as such. Maybe more in that rebuilding stage, whereas Glasgow did start off quite well in the season, but I just say with burnout because of say the Lions and a long season, and also in Europe as well, it kind of they slowly petered away in that kind of regard. Looking at the result for Edinburgh, I didn't expect it at all. Well, in terms of like kind of, did you catch much of the game? What would you say it was? Would you think it was a fair result, or do you think Edinburgh got let off the hook a bit, or what's the crack?
I wasn't able to watch the game itself, but was following the score on Twitter, or X as it's now known as. And I think that the frustrating thing for me is because I checked the table before we came on here, and I said it to you, like the Sharks got a losing bonus point. You think of some of the stars they have. That's out of context. That's not a bad result. But Edinburgh, yeah, they might be winning these games or whatever, but the season's gone. They mathematically cannot make top 8. I'll put the table onto the screen now. 2 rounds of fixtures left. They're currently 13th. They're 10. They're more than 10 points behind whoever is currently 8th. It's not going to happen. And it's quite frustrating at how, like I thought last weekend, there was like, okay, well, there's a bit of a bounce, a few new signings and everything, and fair play to them for still being professional and a bit of driving going forward, that sort of thing. But equally, it's just like, well, it's too little too late. You've let us down when we needed you the most. They put a thing out on Twitter saying that there's going to be a big surprise coming tomorrow morning, so we'll see what that entails. Unless it's Finn Russell signing at fly half, I have to be honest, I'm not too interested.
I wonder what it is. Have you got any inclination?
Nothing whatsoever. There was no replies to the post when I had a look. I mean, by the time this goes out, I'll put it onto the screen now because I'll have screenshotted it. And so I put it onto the screen now, that sort of thing.
Interesting. Be glad. I'm intrigued to find out what that'll be. Nice. Okay. To the Champions Cup though. Champions Cup this weekend. We've got the 2 semi-finals. Long last. We've got Leinster hosting Toulon, which I'm sure will be a fully packed Aviva Stadium. Can't really say that for the past few weeks, but hopefully a fully packed Aviva Stadium. You also have Bordeaux hosting Bath, which is probably going to be, in my opinion, the more exciting, better game out of the two in terms of like entertainment wise. What's your take on it this weekend, Andy?
Well, you're saying it's going to be packed. I'm just thinking if the Aviva's more than a third full, I think the Leinster fans will have came out in support of their beloved Leo Cullen. They lose this game, I think Leo Cullen's gone. The writing's on the wall, and I think Toulon will, being underdogs and all the pressure being on Leinster, that suits them. Toulon are more than happy to do that.
So I also agree with your point about Leo Cullen. The league could drop to fourth.
No, I'm saying this. I've got the Guinness T-shirt on. I've just insulted every Irish fan that we've ever had. They're like, dickhead kind of thing to me. I'm sorry, boys. Love a Guinness, just not Leinster.
At least they make a good stout. At least that's one thing. We'll see. Leicester could surprise you as well. Toulon, they are one of the better teams in France this year. They have been, which is good to see because they were a powerhouse from the past when like Sir Johnny Wilkinson played for them and Maranonu and Brian Habana as well. It's a fun little fact for you. They all played in the same team, which was pretty nuts. Maybe not Nonu, I think he played at a different time to Wilkinson and Habana. Bordeaux vs Bath though, again, I think it'll be more exciting because of the personnel who should be included in these teams. Russell, Bielberry, Jalibert, even Ben Spencer, I think, has got a good bit of flair. Arundel, Cockney Singer. The rest of all their players as well. All these like big superstars. Just at the weekend, Singer, Arundel, Russell. I think Ben Spencer was rested as well. Absolutely tons of them. Bath are in a position to do that. Okay, they ended up losing to Northampton by 3 points. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to prioritise this. Bath, the next step for Bath is to win the Champions Cup. A success to them. They need to target this. As it happens, they'll probably play the favourites to win the whole thing in Bordeaux. But hey, to be the best, you've got to beat the best. May the best team win. May the best team win, literally. First of all, it's just coming off a loss as well. A shock loss to Bennington. Again, just like Bath, though, they did dress a lot of those kind of star players. So bearing that in mind, I'm going to say Leinster do it. I'm going to say Leinster go through to the final, beat Toulon in a scrappy, kind of sluggish kind of game where they just go back to basics and just kind of they simplify things. Maybe take some points on board, points on offer, play territory, show them what they can do. Maybe Toulon just aren't up to it with the massive Aviva crowd that we've got. We're going to go Leinster by 8 points.
Fair enough. I've went Toulon by 5.
Interesting. Close enough, like. close enough kind of results, obviously going either way, but it kind of shows the kind of element of respect we've got for both teams and probably everybody else watching as well. Bordeaux vs Bath.
I want to say that Bath will win, but I've written down Bordeaux by 3, and I think, I mean, just the firepower of BLBRA, just, it's very, very difficult to look past Bordeaux. The reigning champions, they know what it takes to win. Yeah, I'd love to see Bath win just with Finn Russell and, you know, kind of saying Johan van Gram. Yeah, and you know, the Johan van Gram story. Last year they won the Challenge Cup. This year they win the Challenge Cup. Last year they won the Challenge Cup. This year they win the Champions Cup. Yeah, just eventually.
I reckon Bath are going to do it. You know that. I reckon the writings. It's written in the stars for me. You said Bordeaux by 3. I'm going to say Bath by 2. Bath by 2. Be a Finn Russell last minute drop goal, penalty, some magical pass or something like that to win the game. I can't wait for the matchups this weekend. Charlie Bervy's Russell, got Henry Arundel vs BL Berry. It's just, honestly, it's just going to be insane. You've got Ollie Lawrence probably up against Mo Farah. It's just world class player against world class player, left, right, and centre. So I'm really looking forward to it. In the park as well. Oh Christ! Again, like man for man, I don't actually know who's going to have the park, and it could be very detrimental to the flow of the whole game. I have a big heavy kind of park, but you've got players like Josh Bayliss who. Did you see Josh Bayliss keeping up with all the slight at the weekend?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Black Roars are supposed to be fast, but that's freakishly fast by Black Roar, and that is like you can't buy players like that. Honestly, like they come from within, and like he had no right to win that foot race, and he did. And hopefully he gets into Scotland settled, because we need players like that in the back row department. So beasts like that. Do you know what he reminds me of? Watch him after this. It reminds me of Jerome Kano for New Zealand. Absolute machine, a bit of an enforcer. It's a bit like Shannon Frizzell in a way, but world class level. Come up, Jerome Kano, absolute enforcer for the All Blacks for years and years. That's what Bayliss kind of reminded me of a wee bit. Like tall, strong, muscular, but also rapid. So I thought a lot of tall lad. So hopefully Josh Bayliss lives up to Jerome Kano's kind of status, but because that'd be quite something for Scotland. But I'm Bath. But I was impressed with Josh Bayliss at the weekend, and if he can get in a sniff in that back row at the weekend, I think he'll do bother as well. With the likes of kind of Ted Hill, Nils Reid, and even Alfie Barbary as well. Sam Underhill. We've got 4 or 5 absolute brilliant players just named off the top of my head. And Pepper as well.
Yeah.
Bath.
Yeah, I just can't see Bordeaux losing it. So plus the fact they've got the home advantage too.
Yes, it does make a difference. It does make a difference, of course. But look, it's going to be brilliant. I'm going to sit down, knuckle down, and watch it. Probably sober this time. Yeah, like the weekend. But be watching it, and anticipating. Just hoping for a Russell kind of showdown, a Russell Gajaba showdown, a Russell kind of masterclass. We'll see what happens there. Don't forget to leave your comments down below as well, folks. I suppose just make a Glasgow as well. Do you think Glasgow's maybe kind of bottom of the league a wee bit? Just let us know down below. But personally, I don't think they have. I think it's just been a bit of misfortune and also like lack of depth towards the end of the season. In terms of the Champions Cup, though, honestly, let us know what you think. Tune in everything. You have predictions in. See who's right, me or Andy. If you've predicted better than us, because inevitably somebody else probably will. I think that's what we've all got time for tonight. That's me anyway.
Yeah, there's fuck all else happening in the world of rugby.
I know. We need some massive bombshell to drop. We need Eddie Hearn to like sign some like weapon or a player or something, so we've got more to talk about. No, just a quiet one this weekend, guys. But as always, thanks for watching. It's much appreciated. Share about, follow us on our socials on the X and also on YouTube. Subscribe, and thank you very much. See you in the next one.
See you.